Welcome back to season 4 of Candid Coffee. I have Susan and Araik, the co-founders of Bridging the Borders. Araik and Susan, welcome to my home.
Thank you for having us. We're happy to be here.
Thank you. I had met Araik a while back through another friend that I had done an interview with. Her name is Sholik. She's a coordinator at Forest Lawn, and it was a little morbid just to be there, but it was also very touching. As always, we're always paying tribute whenever we can, and I met you, and we spoke for a little bit, and then we reconnected, which I always love. And I'm always a fan of 501c3s and nonprofits such as yourselves, and it's just been really rewarding to see different organizations prove to everyone around them that they really wholeheartedly are doing this for good and that we can trust. It's hard to trust sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to tell you about our org.
And part of our mission statement is to really educate and help and be there for Armenia. Mm-hmm. So it's something we really believe in and something that we care passionately about. So we want to be there and part of the change for Armenia and for Armenians living abroad. So like us, we're part of the diaspora and we don't live in Armenia, so we feel a little disconnected. And part of our mission statement is to bridge the borders, which, do you want to kind of explain
sure. So like Susan mentioned, we originally started in July of 2020 when the skirmishes in Artsakh happened. And so, but before that, we've been in the sort of advocacy and activism world for a long time.
As friends?
Yeah, just as friends. And I myself was in student government growing up, in college and high school, and in different student orgs. And we met actually at Humboldt State when we were going to school there, which is a very activism-oriented college.
Where is that?
It's in Northern California near Oregon.
It's a couple hours from Oregon.
Yeah.
It's in the Redwoods.
Now,
super north. Okay.
Yeah.
So we started the Armenian Students Association there, and so since we were active there and we met there, we kind of continued that and officially formed, Bridging the Borders in 2020. And I think a lot of other Armenians formed groups and wanted to help out as much as they could.
Right.
So during that few months we were mostly focused on helping out Artsakh, but our main mission is to bridge the borders. So whether that's Armenia and the diaspora, or if that's Armenians and other communities, I think there's a big need for that as well. Because we felt like during that 2020 cycle, a lot of other communities didn't understand our struggle, didn't even know about our struggle. So I think that's a big focus for us as well.
Yes, absolutely. And it really is a play on words as far as bridging us together, but you are very much a liaison between just civilians and diasporans who want to do something, and organizations and museums and events and farmers markets and things like that need you connecting us together. So I love that about Bridging the Borders, and I think that you will always be useful because there's always something to do, there's always somewhere to give, there's always someone who has an amazing idea that someone else hasn't thought of, just like you have with this. And I think the most important thing is to keep a very good line of communication with other organizations like Paros or Miasin, so that you guys can really spread yourself even more evenly. And I really applaud the two of you teaming up together. It's really nice when you have a bond like that and you can put your passion into something that is mutual.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think we noticed a lot of, for example, I did an internship with the ANCA several years ago in Washington, D.C., and I was really interested in indigenous communities in America and all over. And I noticed that, for example, Armenians have no representation there because we haven't done that outreach and we haven't done that community building. And so UN has an indigenous group, and we're not there.
Okay.
But the Turkish community is actually very present there, which is
course.
so ironic because they're not indigenous to that region. We
Right,
are.
right.
And so they're actually using that opportunity to
Favor them.
and they're developing connections with different Native American tribes
And universities.
Yeah.
whereas we're not. So when I was approaching different Armenian organizations back then, they didn't see the value, they didn't see the interest. And I feel like we saw in 2020 a lot more Armenians are using the word indigenous. They're understanding that this is something that is a powerful word
Yes.
because we are indigenous to that region.
We
So
are.
why are we not claiming that? So different things like that made us want to start building solidarity with other groups in that way.
Absolutely. And it's kind of upsetting. Like, we're so intellectual, and we've had, like, Armenian history studies at, like, CSUN, and like there's classes at UCLA and USC, and we're, like, so intelligent, and we've spread ourselves so much on the West Coast, but, like, it's such a, like, no-brainer. Why wouldn't we have that in DC
Right.
in 2022 or 2020, whenever it is that you went, like, these latest years? Like, that's such a no-brainer for us to have, and it's kind of like I'm hearing that we haven't really tapped into that. And
And that's what I think we want to focus a lot on. And
okay, how can we help with that?
definitely, I think the first few years since we started, we've been focusing on just laying down the foundation, as we mentioned, becoming an official 501c3, starting all those things and developing our online presence as well.
Okay, awesome. I love that. I think you guys are very, kind of quiet and humble. I want a little bit to amplify your voices a little bit more because, how does the saying go? Like, the loudest
Squeaky wheel
always gets the oil.
Yeah,
Okay?
there we go. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, definitely, like, speak up. You have a lot of things to be proud of that you're doing. So just kind of tap into people's hearts and see if they can help out, because honestly, it does come down to, like, money.
Yeah.
And part of the issue with what we feel like we actually do feel bad about asking for donations
know.
when there's
Trust me.
very specific projects
Yeah.
happening and that are really like benefit a lot of people directly in Armenia. So then we feel a little like maybe out of place, but our projects are very impactful. We feel like so we need to work on speaking about
But if you said, like, this project requires 1,000, this project requires 5, this project requires 10, whatever, like, you think the budget is, like, when they see a number, a goal to reach, then they're more inclined to give a portion of that. You're only $500 away, okay, cool. Check.
Right
whatever it may be.
I think a big part of our thing is also that most of the work that we do is not charity based or, like, direct, like, transfer of financial, except for, of course, the Artsakh war, during which we were able to go to Artsakh and distribute over $8,000 that we collected, and that was directly to families affected by the war.
Displaced or just
displaced refugees, some injured soldier families,
and families of fallen heroes.
Okay,
so that was very direct and grassroots, but our main mission and a lot of where we feel like we're needed is either, like, infrastructure or awareness. One of the things we're currently working on is a documentary about the women soldiers of the first Artsakh War. A lot of people don't know that there was a frontline cohort of women soldiers gun holding. And so we have some archival footage of that from the 90s, never before seen.
Wow.
And so that's something we're really focused on, but it's something that requires funds, like you mentioned, and it's something that we want to shape, like, in terms of, like, mainstream audience, not necessarily geared just for an Armenian audience, because we feel like the world needs to know about these women and about our
Yeah,
story.
absolutely.
And we did receive a Spark grant for this project,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is great.
We
Yeah.
received
From
one-
Surge.
Yeah.
Yes, so we received that, but we definitely need a lot more funds for something of that level. So things like that where it's like it's not a direct impact on like average everyday people, but it would definitely shape our story on a bigger scale.
Which is really needed. Like,
Of
we need
course.
PR.
No, of course you
Our
do.
media needs PR.
Yeah, of course you do. And then you guys want to just compile this, and then what do you want to do with it? Just
We want it from
just-
the film festival circuit.
Okay.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah, so we want to enter the mainstream film festival circuit specifically for documentaries. We have another project that we were sort of thinking about to create like a maker space, digital fabrication laboratory is what they call it. And so this is like a space where you know, we've all heard about Tumo in Armenia. It's more focused on IT, but this is more focused on a space where there's things like 3D printers or sewing machines where average everyday people can come and use these
At the facility.
Yeah.
at the
Not rent
facility.
it.
Correct.
No, not rent it.
okay.
Come there and they can use these machines to fuel their business.
Okay.
Whether it's like sewing things and selling them or printing out 3D like
Anything.
T-shirts,
Anything.
whatever,
Literally
yeah.
anything.
and so and this is in an effort to, you know, keep people in Artsakh.
Yeah.
And we definitely would need to partner with people on the ground, and one of the partners that we've talked to is Fab Lab in Dilijan. They actually have something exactly like this in Dilijan, and recently they were looking to franchise, but all of this requires, you know, major donors, major
Yeah.
support,
Oh,
and
gosh.
of course partners on the ground as well.
We've also connected with a professor from Glendale Community College. He's a part of the engineering AutoCAD department at Glendale Community College, and he's going to help facilitate
A curriculum.
curriculum teachers who can do like online teaching who like are Armenian speaking.
okay.
So that
From here to Yerevan.
Yeah.
Or Artsakh.
Artsakh, yeah, specifically Artsakh, Stepanakert is what we're thinking. So like it's going to be community involvement. It's bridging the borders, technically,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
and figuratively. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's the thing with our projects, is that they're more like infrastructure, if they're actual, and then a lot of outreach, and we also produce infographics on our Instagram and other social media, just about like interesting things that relate to the Armenian cause. For example, we recently posted one during Black History Month
Oh, yeah.
about Charles Gary. He was the lawyer of the Black Panthers, and he was from Fresno, and he's full Armenian, and his whole purpose in becoming a human rights lawyer was because of his family escaping the Armenian genocide. And this is
I didn't
someone
know
who,
about
Yeah.
this is someone who the
Interesting.
Armenian and non-Armenian communities know pretty much nothing about, but he has a huge Wikipedia page. He has a book written about him, a documentary.
yeah, he's
And
changed.
so-
Laws have changed because of him.
His work.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So people like that we personally want to spotlight, that relate to our mission. Another one we did was a local, about the local tribe, the Dongba tribe, the indigenous community here,
Okay.
and about their history.
Yeah.
Since, you know, we're talking about our history, we should know about the indigenous people,
Right,
the area
Native
we
Americans.
live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just different.
Are they Native
infographics.
Americans?
Yes,
Okay.
and Brand
Yeah.
Park is actually the mountain. The mountain that everyone hikes at Brand Park is called Tongva Peak.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that until more recently.
I
But
didn't
it was
know that.
called
I
Brand
go
Park.
there all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that we produce, you know, require a lot of time, effort,
Of course.
and
Yeah.
that's just
I
more
feel
of
like there's
like,
a lot going on though.
There is.
Yeah.
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 So
I'm getting nervous for you guys.
no, but the great thing is that we have teams. So like the people. So Araik works on the infographics with our team member Natalie, who she's a English lit major. She's like super bright and creative. So, you know, for example, and then on our documentary crew we have Ani, who's actually I think one of her TV shows got picked up by a streaming
Roku,
service by
yeah.
Roku.
Okay.
So we have like very like people who are very dedicated and very
to what they're
Yeah.
passionate about.
That they're very good at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Araik and I probably have met, like, no joke, every single week the last 2 years,
Yeah,
either in person or Zoom, about like what are we doing? Like our events, our projects. What do we want to do? How are things going?
And how
you know,
are people responding? Are they kind of tapped out? Are they
No.
annoyed? Are
I
they
think
hopeful?
people are passionate about
Yeah.
our org, the
Yeah.
people that do know about
Yeah.
us. But since we are restricted to sort of online and Instagram and
Yeah.
our own circles,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's been hard to reach out to more of like the outside Armenian community.
yeah,
I know it sounds like ick a little bit because you're like, oh, I keep having to ask for help with this or money for that or referrals or whatever it is, or do you know somebody in this? and that.
Right.
But like, if you don't, like,
that's true.
you know, you have to, and
Yeah.
people will understand. People want to, and you know what? You're gonna hear no sometimes, and you're like, oh, I'm not interested, or I've
Yeah.
already tapped out, or I've checked out of this, or whatever. But like, if you keep doing it, something's gonna like ricochet and
Yeah.
go back to this person or domino into something else. So.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing really well. It seems like there's a lot going on, but I know, like you said, you have members here and there
Yeah.
that are doing their roles in helping the collective effort of bridging
absolutely.
the borders. And this is lovely. And I think you guys should have this in your car all the time
Yeah.
and just set it up somewhere, like, and just chill
We're
and
here.
talk. Yeah, yeah. Like dedicate once a week to like going somewhere, like a cafe somewhere, or
Yeah.
like on Artsakh Street, anywhere. You could set
Yeah.
up shop on any corner.
We've been really fortunate that
Yeah.
a lot of people do want to help us. And like,
Yeah.
for example, thank you so much for letting us, use your
Here,
platform and
yeah.
meet with you and
welcome.
speak to your audience. But like, Uartu, like you mentioned on Artsakh Street, they're like, come on by, like whatever you guys want.
They're
post
really
up,
nice. They're really nice there.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah, and we'd love to also table at non-Armenian events too,
Yes.
whether it's like social justice related or
Yeah.
other communities like indigenous or African American community, just to show our presence and have them come support us and vice versa.
Hopefully.
Because
Yeah.
ultimately, like we need to partner with other
Yeah.
people if we want to get our cause into the mainstream world.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, like, I know sometimes it feels like we're
Alone.
alone.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what, I'm just going to go in my little corner with my own little people.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll just echo to each other this whole time. But yes, you're right. It's hard to tap into those communities because you feel like, are they really going to care? But
Right.
if you don't, you'll never know if they do or not.
Exactly.
And so you're just going to have to keep trying. And
Yeah, especially with finding like the right people in those groups. Because this year, especially, I saw like the Swana, the groups are becoming more vocal about Armenian causes. They're not Christian necessarily, right? But then they still have our backs as like people from the Middle East.
Yeah.
And then now I think it's like time that we do pay attention to our local, like what people here in the African American community and stuff, but not expect reciprocation, but eventually it'll happen.
yes,
and
from somewhere it will.
and the Armenian community is largely in Glendale, so there's not a like huge exposure of what are Armenians in other parts of LA or even
Yeah.
other parts of the country. So
Definitely.
And like maybe taking a road trip to Fresno and like going to like a festival out there.
Yeah.
Or Montebello.
Yeah.
There's a
For
Greek
sure.
festival there. There's an Armenian festival. Just
Sure.
tap into like different cities that are a little bit further away.
yeah,
I think we'd love that. And
Yeah.
I think especially having gone to Humboldt State, somewhere where there's literally virtually no Armenians, I think it was something ingrained in us where we
Yeah.
always probably had to tell people what our background is. And those kinds of communities who do care about activism and social justice and whatever, like they actually do care. Like we put on an event for we screened a documentary for the centennial and over 250 people showed up up
in
there.
Humboldt,
Because
where
it's something
like,
that they've
it's
never
amazing.
heard about and
Yeah.
they're like, wow, I want to learn more about this. What can I do
Yeah.
about
Okay,
it?
good.
So I think if we reach out to the right types of communities,
It'll trickle.
It
Yeah.
will. It definitely will. Because you're there for them and they're there for you. So just do that. And, what's the worst that can happen? No? Okay,
Right.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else we should cover?
Maybe
you guys.
just our social media.
Which
Like
we'll
if
have.
someone
You
people
want
want to like
Yeah, your
involve-
Instagram
okay, so we'll be
handle
on
will be on there.
That'll be better. Just
Yeah, for sure.
I think we covered
Yeah.
like everything. We didn't talk about
Maybe
like
if they have any volunteer.
Yes.
like,
Ask for
experience.
people to volunteer.
okay.
Yeah, because we've been wanting, more we can
Yeah.
always use the help.
Of
So,
course.
Do
Get
you
those
want to mention that?
high school
Yeah.
kids, man. They
Yeah.
need to
Yeah,
get off
absolutely.
Instagram and do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So you want to quickly?
Yeah.
So if you guys have any volunteer experience or a desire to, help us out with our mission, we would love to have you on board. Whether your experience is in like IT, like we can use help with our website, or really anything. We can
Administrative, customer service, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
Just being a
reach
nice
out
person.
to us.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram all the time, and we also have an email, which is hello@bridgingtheborders.org.
Okay, perfect. And we'll have all of that on the screen. They'll reach out to you via Instagram or your website or your email, and then hopefully I'll see you in a year. I mean, I'll see you throughout the year,
Yeah, of
but
course.
I'll see you in a year. I want to know progress. I want to know how you're doing,
Thank you.
because I feel like I did my job if at least you made some progress by
Thank you. Yeah.
putting light on
Thank
all your
you.
work.
We're so appreciative. Thank you.
I know
Yeah,
you
it's
are.
very
Thank
exciting.
you. I appreciate it.